Are you sick and tired of gambling your hard-earned money on Madden packs? Look no further than my sponsor, MMOEXP, for the cheapest and most reliable MUT coins on the market. And don't forget to use code Ferdy at checkout for 5% off. What's going on, guys? Today we are talking about the best players at each position at every single price point. And this video is a little bit different than my normal best at each position series. Instead of only one card per position, we have basically three, maybe multiple per position. I tried to get at least three for every position, kind of a free to cheap price point option, and then a mid-level option, and then obviously the very expensive option as well. Our shout out of the day today goes to my man Bryson for commenting the emoji of the day on last video. And if you want a chance to be shouted out in the next one, let's comment the pig emoji. And of course, if you find videos like this helpful, hitting that like button is always appreciated. And of course, if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. Let's get started. So getting started with the quarterbacks for free to cheap, we of course have RG3. In the last video, when I made this, all we had was Bryce Young, and he was our free to cheap option. But RG3, if you are just getting on this game and you have not grinded out for RG3, you should definitely do that. I mean, 87 speed, a decent release. This card is probably still a top 5 to 7 QB in the game right now, and he is, like I said, completely free. Next up, if you don't feel like grinding for RG3, I mean, this card is substantially worse than RG3, but obviously time is money. And yeah, this card is only 20K, and Baker's got a good release. That's why I do like this card. Slinger 7 is a really better release this year. Hopefully we see more quarterbacks with Slinger 7, but yeah, this Baker Mayfield card is definitely solid for his price point. And next up, we have Jordan Love for kind of that mid-level-ish price point, kind of in between cheap and mid-level. About 40K for this card. I do like him as well. Good throw power. Slinger 1 release as well, which is the same as Mike Vick and Aaron Rodgers. Next up here for our mid-level, I do have Warren Moon. His price has been cheaper. It's kind of been going like up and down, probably like 10 to 20K, give or take. But Warren Moon, 83 speed, 88 throw power, good accuracy stats, and does also get gunslinger and a lot of good top-tier abilities for his price tag. It's honestly kind of tough to beat Warren Moon's value at the quarterback position. And I would say this is kind of the first card we've seen so far that is better than the RG3 card. I would probably say that. If you want to run a lot more mobile stuff, a lot more, read options and things like that, maybe RG is better for you. But Warren Moon, probably the best bang for your buck QB in the game right now. And finally, to take the top off of our budget, we have Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck, definitely that guy. I think he is the best QB in this game right now. Going for a bit of a penny at 1.9 and then 1.1. So yeah, like I said, at each price point, there's probably someone in between there that you could probably find. But yeah, for mid-level, I like Warren Moon's price a lot and his value. And then taking the cap off, you got all the coins in the world, man. Go get Andrew Luck. He is the best. A little bit of a cheaper alternative to Andrew Luck, though, I will say, is this Tua card. I really do like him. If you don't have a problem with using a left-handed quarterback, I like Tua a lot. And if you kind of want to be a little bit more mobile, I do like Mike Vick as well. But yeah, those are your options for quarterback. And yeah, don't worry, we're not going to spend that much time on each position. I'm probably going to click through a good amount of them. I realized I got a lot more cards than what I thought. I don't want to make this video about 30 minutes long, but getting started with our free to cheap cornerback, we now have Jalen Watson. Definitely a good man coverage guy. 85 man coverage, 85 speed at 6'2", and he's 204. So free to cheap, Jalen Watson. For that cheap price range, I like CJ Henderson with 85 speed, as you guys can see right there. I also do like Eric Stokes with 87 speed. And then we have Adoree Jackson kind of going up the budget with 87 speed, 87 man coverage. And then moving up here, Charles Woodson's 85 overall with 86 man, 86 zone. I mean, you are going to see a lot of legends on this video. I might miss a couple, to be honest, but a lot of these budget legend cards or these legend collectibles are actually pretty top tier cards for those kind of mid to cheap level price points, because they have the same traits as the full legend. I mean, a lot of their stats are, a lot of their stat makeups are pretty similar. Like Charles Woodson's pretty glitchy because he has decent tackling stats, can play man and zone evenly both ways, and then has decent speed as well. So Charles Woodson, 6'1", is definitely a nice card for about 70K. Continuing here, we have Richard Sherman for that, kind of getting up there to mid-level price point. He's going for 125 right now. And then next up, we have Charles Woodson for taking the cap off of the budget here, going for 400K. crazy speed, can play, man and zone, good press, and can tackle as well. Moving into free safety, the main problem with this game to me right now was just kind of, or like over the last month, was just kind of the lack of budget cards and good, usable options for everyone who can't afford these super expensive cards that come out. And since Campus Heroes, there really hasn't been that many crazy budget beasts, as you're going to tell. I'm just kind of clicking through these cards today, but for cheap at free safety, I like Lewis Seen. We have Ed Reed for, kind of that price point above, 84 overall. And again, another legend kind of collectible making the list here today. We have Jason Pinnock for our kind of mid-level price point, about 100K. Man and zone pretty equal. And then you have 86 speed at 6'1", 204. And then for taking the cap off of it, I am going to go with Paul Krause. Paul Krause is not officially in the game yet while recording this, but I would probably say Paul Krause or Sean Taylor. But to me, Paul Krause is going to be better than Sean Taylor, so I had to mention him. I think probably as an in-the-box guy, you could argue with Sean Taylor as like a sub linebacker, but I think Paul Krause will be the better over-the-top guy, mainly because of that 93 zone coverage, and does actually have like 10 better man than Sean Taylor as well. And he's 6'3", so this card's going to play very well over the top. But if you want to use someone in the box as a user sub linebacker, Sean Taylor's probably going to be the better option. Going back to offense at running back, getting started here with our super cheap price point. We got Keaton Mitchell, 5,000 coins, 85 speeds. The main reason why he's on here. Really can't do anything else but run fast and straight. Next up, we have Raheem Mostert. Speaking of running fast and straight, who they actually gave a pretty good COD. Usually they give him good COD and kind of low juke, moving crazy speed, and that's exactly what this card is right here. 87 speed, 89 acceleration for 18K, probably one of your better value buys on here. Keep moving here to our, kind of cheap to mid-level. We have Chase Edmonds, 86 speed with even 85 COD is not bad. 5'9" as well, 210, so pretty good build right there for Chase Edmonds. This one's kind of a sleeper pick here. So for our kind of mid-level price point, I got Andrew Beck. This card is pretty glitchy at running back. Although he is a fullback, yeah, he's nice, man. 87 speed, 87 acceleration. And look at the abilities on this card. He does get RB Apprentice for 100K. So, I mean, it's tough to beat what Andrew Beck's price is. And also, he's 255, so can air truck. This card is really nice. And I don't think he's actually going to talk about it enough. I might make a video on this card maybe early next week. I'm just kind of highlighting him and, how good his value is. So I do like Andrew Beck a lot. And finally, probably the best value buy in this game right now is Bo Jackson. To me, he is the best running back in this game right now. So really, I didn't even need like another budget above him, but I still gave you one. But Bo to me is the best. But if you have been using Bo since he came out, which at this point, it's been literally a month, you could use CMC. CMC, I do like this card a lot. I do still think Bo is better though. And staying on offense with the tight ends for our cheap to free option, it's Michael Mayer. If you haven't grinded this out yet, it's kind of the same grind as RG3. So yeah, you have that option. So RG3, Michael Mayer, great free option at tight end. 85 speed, 88 jumping, 6'4", and this card you still see him out there. Although again, he came out literally a month ago with Bo Jackson. Headed to our, if you don't want to grind it, headed to our cheap option. We have Sam Laporta, 84 speed. I use this card right now on my Lions theme team, and he actually plays pretty well. So I'm going to put Laporta on here without question. Next up, for our kind of cheap to mid-level, we have Chigozie Okonkwo, 84 speed, 81 acceleration, decent route running. But yeah, pretty good route running, honestly, with 84 short and 83 mid for this price point. It does make sense. Next up, I really didn't like any tight end at this price point, but if I had to pick one, it would be Albert O. 6'5", 258 with good acceleration, good speed, and again, pretty similar route running to Chigozie, but is a better build at 6'5". And then finally, to kind of take the cap off of this, I mean, you could say Shannon Sharp's in here. If you're not really running the ball that much, Shannon Sharp's probably the better option because he does actually get the 90 short route running. But I do like Rob a lot. Rob to me is a demon, can really just do everything. Good with the ball in his hands, paws. A good run blocker, and also that 90 mid route running threshold with good speed and crazy catching stats too. So Gronk to me is my favorite. If you're more of a traditional, if you're using it more of like a traditional pass catcher, maybe like a slot guy, you might lean more Shannon Sharp. That's why I have him here as well. He looks pretty good, even good after the catch, and he's got a better juke move as well. So if you're liking the juke move a lot, this year, then maybe Shannon Sharp's better for you. But I think Gronk's a little bit more complete at tight end, and if you run the ball a little bit like me, Gronk is definitely going to be that take the top off option. Okay, so we do have to talk about them. Let's just go through the offensive linemen. I'm not really going to talk here. I'm just going to kind of click through and just say their names. I'm not going to spend too much time here. If you want, you can pause and take a look at the stats of these cards. But let's get started. Okay, Ryan Bates, 20K. Tevin Jenkins, 38K. We then have Connor Williams, 54K. We then have Ethan Pokic, 51K at center. We have Nate Herbig, 55K at right guard. We have Josh Myers, center, 57K. And then we have Quentin Nelson, this core elite left guard, going for about 60K. We have Kendrick Green, probably my favorite offensive lineman on this list because of this speed right here. Probably my favorite, probably one of my favorite cards actually in this video is Kendrick Green for 70K. This card is a really good value because he has that 77 speed at Charles Cross level, who we're going to talk about here in a second. Lucas Niang, 85K. This card's actually pretty solid for his price point. We then have Charles Cross. Really, I have all the Charles Cross cards on here. I like every single one of them, so no matter what your price point is, I like Charles Cross because of that speed, kind of as you work yourself up. I mean, yeah, just try to find speed on that offensive line, you'll be okay. We then have the left tackle, about 100K, Trent Williams. We have Logan Mankins at left guard. We then have Drew Dahlman at center. We have Charles Cross at left tackle. And finally, we have Creed Humphrey at center. And I believe that does wrap up the offensive line. We now have our left side edge rushers, if that is something you are looking for. I just kind of put left outside linebacker and left end in at the same position because in a lot of schemes, they kind of just do the same thing. So our best edge rushers off the left side, we have Chase Young. Chase Young's going to have good cards throughout the year because of this right here. All three traits are on yes. So you will see Chase Young's upgrade on here as well. But DeMarcus Lawrence, same thing. All three traits on yes. Chase Young again, all three traits on yes. 86 overall, 85 speed, 88 acceleration, 6'5", 264 pounds. Kind of for that mid-level price point, we then have Javon Curse at 123K. And finally, finally to take the top off our left edge rusher position, we have DeMarcus, where I do believe he is the best left edge rusher in the game right now. 90 finesse move, crazy speed, good tackling, and does also get edge threat if that does fit your scheme. Going to the right side, we then have Lawrence Taylor. Kind of the same spiel I gave you with the Legend collectibles earlier. It works the same for the AKAs. All traits on yes, added 81 overall with 81 power moves is tough to beat for just 12K. Next up, we have Bruce Smith. Again, literally just going to be the same exact thing I just said. Very nice card. We then have Montez Sweat. Good speed off the edge. The traits aren't perfect, but it's that 85 speed that we love for just 56K. We then have Lawrence Taylor again. 83 speed with 86 power moves and also just have the perfect traits. We then have the full Lawrence Taylor to kind of finish this position off with the 85 speed, 90 power moves, and of course, like I've been saying this whole time, perfect traits. We then have our defensive tackles. Getting started here with our low price point. We have Tyr Tart, maybe. I don't know how you say his name, but 304, 6'2", good speed, and also good pass rushing stats. Kind of just a body to throw out there, especially for that price point. We then have Jerron Reed for our kind of cheap to mid-level price point. Really good run stopping stats. That's why kind of why I do like this card a pretty good amount. We then have Jalen Carter's 85 overall. If I had to pick one between Jerron Reed and Jalen Carter, it's Jalen Carter by a pretty good amount. I like him a lot just because of the size. He's 6'3", 314, and has really good run stopping stats. We then have Warren Sapp. So I didn't really put like a mid-level. I guess my mid-level price point was Jalen Carter. I really didn't like anyone else, but Warren Sapp to me is still the best defensive tackle in this game right now. There are options. There's Vita Vea, who does get inside stuff, which is interesting to me. But I guess I probably wouldn't touch like an inside stuff yet. If you want to, you can. But if you're not going to use inside stuff, it's probably Warren Sapp, mainly because of that speed and also the pass rush ability. But honestly, Vita Vea, it could be like he's probably a better value buy, to be honest, just because Sapp is still like basically at his price. I like without ability, Sapp is better, but I guess thinking about it, Vita getting the inside stuff, I think does make him actually the best tackle in the game right now. He's also bigger than Warren Sapp too, so I would probably reconsider who I picked for that number one, and I would probably go with Vita Vea. I probably would. He's pretty solid, man. So yeah, let's switch that up real quick. For middle linebacker, I probably wouldn't use a middle linebacker, but if I had to pick some middle linebackers, here are my options. Divine Diablo, 83 speed. Good tackling, 6'3", 226. for a budget middle linebacker. We then have Trenton Simpson, 85 speed, 6'2", for kind of that mid-level price point. And then we have Junior Seau. I guess Junior Seau is also kind of mid-level. He's more cheap to mid-level. He is more mid-level. And then we have our take the top off the cap. And we got Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis, to me, is the best middle linebacker in the game. Although, I will say Terrell Bernard is actually pretty close right behind him as a user. This card actually looks pretty good to me at 6'1", 218. The only problem is actually the weight on this card. That's why I like Ray Lewis more. If you're going to use a linebacker, I want a big body. I want a guy who's 250 and can stop the run at a high level. So that's why I do like Ray Lewis just that much more. We then have strong safety, getting started with our cheap price point. I got two options for you. I got Tyson Anderson at 6'2", 207 with good acceleration and good speed. And also 80-man coverage is pretty good for a card at his price. Next up, we have Isaiah Simmons, more of a user because of his weight, but really good weight, and he's 6'4", just a good user if you are just getting started for about only 7,000 coins is pretty tough to beat. Next up, we have 84 Cam Chancellor, who's 6'3", 225 pounds with 85 speed, 85 hit power, and 84 tackling. Moving up to the next budget, we have Trevon Moehrig with 87 speed, 87 acceleration, 81 zone coverage at 6'1", 202, and also does have pretty good run stopping stats with 83 tackling, 87 hit power, 86 pursuit, and probably the best value buy in this game right now is actually going to be Cam Chancellor. He's still a top tier card in this game, in my opinion, at 6'3", 87 speed, can stop the run with 90 hit power, good tackling, good size, good weight for his safety as well, good zone coverage. This Cam Chancellor card is one of the best buys in this game. And finally, who is probably the best card in this game right now? I got Isaiah Simmons for our our max budget here, 88 speed, 6'4", can play man, can play zone, can stop the run, can animate, big body, good weight, like I said, for his budget card. So yeah, those are the strong safeties. Okay, let's wrap this thing up. We have our wide receivers, and then at the end we have a couple kickers, but let's just click through it here. We have A.T. Perry for the wide receivers for that cheap level. We then have Ronnie Bell, who's a kind of a nice little card here, 6 foot, 85 speed with 85 acceleration, kind of staying in the cheap level. At wide receiver, I gave you multiple options. We then have Josh Palmer for 20K, 85 speed, 86 acceleration, good catching. Route running is really not going to be there, but again, there really isn't that many good budget cards that have come out since Taquan Thornton, who was just a demon. 84 deep route running, 87 speed at 6'2". He's definitely the best cheap guy. And again, he's probably one of the better buys on here. Like Kendrick Green, like Bo Jackson, kind of like I've been saying for a couple of these guys, like Warren Moon even. We then have the 82 overall Calvin Johnson, who's obviously still 6'5", but 84 speed and actually has good route running stats. It's kind of 3 low-level thresholds at 80 overall, which I do like. Moving on here, we then have Christian Watson, 85 speed, going for 40K. On this card when he came out, was one of the best, and he's still a pretty solid option at receiver. More campus heroes, we have Christian Kirk with 86 speed, 87 acceleration, and 87 short route running. We then have 86 Chris Olave for about 100K with good route running stats, 86 mid, 87 deep, good speed, good acceleration at 6'1", and also pretty decent after the catch as well. Moving on here, we then have another legend, Calvin Johnson, kind of in that same price range at 86 speed and 86 mid route running, 86 deep, and of course, yes, still 6'5". Up to that mid-level price point, we have Devin Hester for 140. This card still plays well, good route running, hitting that 90 deep route running threshold is really nice with the 87 speed, 87 acceleration, and also really good with the ball in his hands. Again, pause, like I said. Staying in the same price range. Jerry Rice is in his price range too. A little bit of it, probably a 60K difference, but 120, 130, you probably could find this card for probably like 175. If you're lucky, maybe 165. But yeah, Prentice his card plays really well. Probably not gonna be your best deep threat option, but from the slot in mid route running, short route running scenarios, Jerry Rice still is just amazing in this game. And then to finally, I guess, do I have one more? No, I have 2 more receivers here. We have Calvin Johnson. I think Calvin Johnson, probably the second best wide receiver in this game right now, 6'5", and you saw a lot of his budget cards already on here. But yeah, 90 mid route running, 91 deep route running at 6'5" with 88 speed is just insane, and also very good after the catch. Very, very good. And finally, the man who I believe is the best wide receiver in this game right now with no price point is Keenan Allen. 88 speed, great abilities, really just amazing card. So super well rounded, good after the catch, can run every single route in the game. I mean, I love this Keenan Allen card. I wish he was cheaper. He'd be on my team right now. Unfortunately, that price tag's a little bit hefty. And finally, for our kickers, I have one at each price point here for you guys. I got Greg the Leg. I got Jason Myers for 20K. I got Graham Gano for 70K. And then finally, I have Brandon McManus for about 100K. So yes, that is going to do it for today's video. Let me know down in the comment section if I didn't miss anybody. And again, if you did find this video helpful at all, hit that like button. It's always appreciated. And as always, I will see you boys in the next one.